What it do, what it do, what it do. It is your boy, Andrew. Who am I with as always? It's Joseph Huggie, a.k.a. Old Man Huggie. Talk shit or get off the pod. Episode 134. I told y'all, ladies and gentlemen, I'm loose. But OJ, he's fresh out of juice. Welcome, motherfuckers.
I give a clap and cheer because I always do. Followed up by a boo.
A boo?
You can't. The juice is dead.
Yeah, thank God, dude. Like a fucking retirement plan that he needed. Fuck that guy.
No, he had a full NFL pension he didn't need. We'll get into it. We'll get into the
he just
nitty
straight
gritty.
murdered people. Go to hell, bitch.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly.
We'll get
found by a jury of his peers and
not guilty. Yeah, in civil, okay, preponderance of the evidence. That's more than likely than not. Not beyond a shadow of a doubt.
No, I mean, if the LA cops weren't so fucking dumb and racist, they didn't have to plan a
and just.
How you doing?
I'm honestly did my work swap thing. I love fixing things and changing things and coming up. I'm a critical thinker, so the more my job allows me to critical think a lot, and it's been on overdrive, and I'm obsessed with it. So that's been nice. And went to Chicago. I had a nice little trip to Chicago. Took a break. So I was here last week.
What are you doing in Chicago?
Chicago is the cleanest city I've ever been to.
No, what were you doing though?
I was just honestly getting away. I've never been. Went
by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I went. People in my life, and we went and saw what was it called? I went and saw the Bean. I went to a game. I wandered around downtown. I work constantly.
You hop on the L train and jerk off?
No, that was weird. But honestly, cleanest city I've ever been to in my entire life. It looks like they downtown especially. It looks like they power wash it every night. You're like, where is the trash? The homeless people are neat and tidy and clean. They fold their tents and put them away in a tent cubby that they made out of something nice, and it's just I walked by a couple spots where it was obviously where people slept at night, and all their stuff was left alone because it was folded, and your mom would fold shit and put it at the end of the bed. I was like, bro, where the fuck am I? And then the wind, super real. But it was great for my curls, bro. I came out, my hair was still wet. I was getting 360-degree coverage at 40 mile an hour. It was blowing my fro, whatever direction I would turn. It would and when I went inside, it was it was perfect, bro. Perfect, even dry. I wouldn't move there because it would be hella expensive. But when I got there, I was like, oh, this is nice. By the time I left, I was like, I would fly here to go to a concert and show up 2 days early to vibe the fuck out and then go to a concert and leave the next day because it was that nice. The people super nice, food good, holes in the walls are better than the big mainstay ones, but it was beautiful, man. It was fucking beautiful. I'll send you some pictures off air. I'll text them to you. Gorgeous, man. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Nice. Yeah, my sister went to Columbia College in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's a performing arts school. And then lived out there for a while. But I don't know, it was sketchy, and
it depends on where you are.
Super, super cold.
Yeah, see, when I went, it was nice. It gets cold as fuck. You're right by the lake. You're pretty damn close to Canada. You're about a 3-hour drive away from Milwaukee. Indiana, fucking dangerous as shit Indiana. By the way, in case you didn't realize, that's where a majority of the guns in Chicago come from. Sidebar. National gun...
Really strict gun laws in Chicago.
None.
In Indiana,
and it's extremely close. You could probably ride your bike to Indiana from Chicago. It'd take you a bit, but you could do it. And it'd just be riding along the edge of Lake Michigan, which is nothing but fucking parks in random ass piers and yacht clubs. Like you could ride your bike all the way to Indiana and buy
But you're gonna buy a bunch of guns
and buy a
a
gun
bike?
and ride them back because they're not going to stop you because those gun laws conflict. So it's just interesting that people are like, oh, there's gun violence in Chicago, and it's like a lot of those guns come from Indiana. If you want to drive to Indiana, buy a bunch of guns at a gun show. Go back to Chicago, you could sell them to a criminal.
Right. I mean, same thing with like the Mexican cartels. Like
Yeah.
they get all their guns from the United States.
Yeah,
From,
it's
they
like
just go up to Texas at a gun
yeah,
show.
they go to fucking the convention hall at Lake Ray Roberts, no ID required, and purchase, a couple.
But shout out, Joe Biden. He just made a move and to end the loophole, the gun show loophole. So now they just changed like the language in the law, and so now basically everybody has to do a background check if you're selling guns primarily for profit. That's how they changed it and got everybody.
That's wild. But to wrap it up, because this is actually a good topic. Yeah, no, it was great, beautiful. It was a good little escape. I enjoyed just like getting out of town, not working for a bit. I don't do that very often, and my brain doesn't let me do that. So it was nice to like have it forced. And the way that it's this like transition thing that's been happening, it worked out to where it was like I spent 2 weeks taking care of a bunch of stuff, and there was a pause that was like, okay, like I didn't have anything to do, and so I'd either be in Texas spinning or I'd be like vibing out in Chicago. So it was cool, man. It was really cool. I like fucking enjoyed it a lot. It was really nice.
Nice. Well, good. Good that you enjoyed it because that's why we were last week. So we can
Yeah.
I actually even forgot we were going like an hour before. I'm like, yo.
Well, it was like I was working like crazy hours up until that. So even when we did the last show, it was like, oh, like.
Well, that's what I was actually kind of wondering is that your new gig or your new role, or whatever, was Tuesday still going to be the best day?
Oh yeah, and then well, like now, I mean, yeah, I'm fucking wired, bro. Like, and I'm chilling tomorrow. Like I've got like my time. There's some structure, so it's like I'm in a good spot, and I enjoy these types of challenges, like tests. Like it's like okay, how do I figure this out? It's like different puzzles every time. So I kind of enjoy it. If your work can be that, while it is tiresome and stressful, like mentally it like kind of drains me, and having ADHD, that's rather difficult to do. So
Right.
I'll ride with it. But
And just real quick, I know we're going to get into OJ later, but for the audio audience, for our
yeah.
global audience, Joseph's wearing a T-shirt that says "We still love you," number 32, with a fucking picture of Orenthal James Simpson.
and then it says "We love OJ" underneath. You gotta get the full. It's an absurd shirt, and then the
We
back.
still love you, and then we love you.
Yeah, well, it's like
it's a little redundant, bro.
We still love you, number 32.
We love you.
We love
We love
OJ.
OJ.
We love OJ! Exclamation point. Good punctuation. Good punctuation. Except I think
for there's because there's a period after J.
Yeah, no, there's no period after J.
See, yeah, good punctuation. Dude.
No, actually, I just now noticed that. That makes it even. That makes it even better. And then there's no punctuation. Well, there is right here, exclamation point, and the back says "Pray for OJ" in huge letters. So I've had this shirt for an extremely long time, and I used to like hoop in this shit. This shirt is like the fact it's lasted this long. You can see the collar's all stretched out. Yeah. It's in like rough shape. I should cut the sleeves off. But like I would go like cycling in this shit. Now, probably not so much. But this shirt's funny because every so often something pops up where this shirt's like, oh, I gotta put on my OJ shirt. So it was today. It was like it's on a hanger. Like it hangs.
It's like the hoodie I have where Trump's drinking bleach.
Yeah.
Like I don't wear that every day.
But that would be like you.
Some situations call for it.
But that'd be like you busting that out when like Barron Trump goes to jail for like stealing a bunch of crypto, and we're like 60, and you're like, "Where's my hoodie?" Because that's how long this shirt's existed in my life for more than half of my life. So I was like, I could bust it out anytime. I would wear it out. I would wear it like two places. Like, oh, we're going to this part. Where's my OJ shirt? It's a good conversation starter.
I don't think it's that crazy.
Like I said, there would be times where it'd be funny, but you get two responses. There's no middle ground. I've like worn this. I went to go get like a pizza or something. I was like 19 and I was at Little Caesars. And I went to go buy this fucking pizza and I pick it up and this woman behind me in line is like, "That's disgusting. You're horrible." Like, started ripping me. And I'm sorry, she was in front of me. So she saw the front of my shirt and she was like, "Oh my God." And then she walked and you see the back and it's huge. And it says like, "Pray for OJ." I wonder if the punctuation's correct on that. But, and she's like, "You're disgusting."
Do you want to turn it around for the camera and I can let you know?
I don't think so. Yeah, we'll do it. But and she storms out, and then this other dude is in there. It's like, "Dude, that was fucking crazy. That shirt's hilarious, dude." Either you think it's absolutely one of the funniest shirts you've ever seen, or you feel the need to come let me know how.
See, well, the difference
shirt
with
is.
that and then my Trump hoodie is nobody can act like that lady, because if they're like a Trumper, it's like, bro, he said to drink bleach or to inject it in your fucking veins. And
True.
then it's like, and then if you're against Trump, it's like, yeah, look at that fucking clown drinking bleach.
Yeah.
Like, it's a win-win. Like, I remember I used to wear it to Casual Fridays at work, and my buddy's like, "Dude, they're gonna pull you into like HR." I'm like, I hope they do. What are they gonna say? You know, like, this is offensive. How? It's like, like he did it to himself. I didn't say drink bleach.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the thing is, so this shirt's just either offensive or funny. That one, you could argue semantics and like, yes, you're correct.
Yeah, there's nothing like controversial
Yes.
about it. It just seems like there would be, but it's like, actually no.
And
Hold on a second.
pepperoni. But that's where, like, depending on who that person you're dealing with who's talking to you about it is, they're gonna be like,
Nobody.
Look,
Nobody's
they'd be like, "Look, dude, I get it. Like, anybody's gonna be like, yes, he said that, but come on, man, it's making people.
Fuck you.
No, they'd be like, it's pissing people off. We don't want
It's
this
not
to be.
though.
I get it, but I mean,
I mean, maybe it's because I'm in California, but I know, like, the people at the poker room, and I've worn it to 2 different poker rooms, Chumash, the Indian casino, and my homeroom, the Players Club. And I've worn it in there, and it's like people are laughing, like Trumpers are laughing.
No, and that's true, and that's why I'm saying, like, if we're playing basketball, obviously OJ is like a narcissistic megalomaniac, one of the most polarizing people that we'll ever see in our entire lifetime. Like, if you had to put like top 100 most memorable people in the history of the U.S. or top 500, OJ Simpson is in the top 500. Definitely.
150 million people watched his trial. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So you would talk about court systems. He would be, the O.J. Simpson trial is a perfect example. They'll talk about that if America exists in 200 years, about that trial and the fuckery and the goings on that went around it, because it encompassed so many things that it's like, while yes, he was not the best dude, also it's like his impact on news media and coverage. I mean, forensic.
Are we going into it? I was just trying to tell the audience about your shirt.
Well, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, this shirt is like, I think O.J. Simpson and him will be remembered for different reasons. Both bad guys in a story.
Trump.
Trump
No,
and him.
OJ. Okay, I'll say it. OJ is the black equivalent of Trump, where it's like black people were like rooting for him to be not guilty. He's like this uber rich, could not give a fuck about the black community guy, like borderline like racist probably, and they all look up to him, and he could care less about like black struggle, and it's never been through it in his life. And it's just like Trump, he's a fucking like alleged, obviously not a billionaire, but he's a millionaire in New York, real estate guy, and like all these like rural
York,
white guys are like
fine.
oh,
He's
he
fine.
gets us.
He's fine. He's doing fine. He's not a bajillionaire, but in New York standards, they're okay.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's like, he is the elite, like, coastal elite, like, that they like say that they hate, but he's like, they look up to him, and it's like, this is a weird guy for you all to be following, and OJ was a weird guy for the black community to be looking up to.
Okay, well, we'll get into it. I wanna hear about your gambling, because it's been a while, and you've been sending me screenshots and shit.
Just in the last 24 hours, because last night I just I entered in like a $5 um tourney.
Yeah.
And well, okay, first of all, I went and played live poker yesterday. um I bought him for $72 because me and the Iron Ape, we went 50-50 on Friday, and I didn't win. We started with 100. I ended up like it was like 2:45 a.m. and I left with like 72. So I just used that money and just bought back in. Got up to like 140. I had pocket kings, and this and I raised like a little bit because I wanted some people to call because I was first to act. Because I long story. Anyways, doesn't matter. I was first to act. Pocket kings. I raised a little bit. 4 callers. The flop comes out 992. Check check. I go all in. The big blind calls me and he flips over 9-2. I was like, what? And then the dealer is like a Asian girl. She immediately scolds me for not betting more pre-flop. But I was like, I was like in this weird position because I went out and smoked weed, and by the time I came back, I had missed the big and small blind when it was my turn. So if that happens, you just put in $3 and you automatically get in the
Yeah.
hand. And it would have been $3 that I would have to pay for those. So basically, you're paying $3 for one hand instead of two.
Yeah.
So I put the $3 in, but that two of that $3 it goes as your big blind. So I was in for two big blind, even though I wasn't the big blind. So it was like it went to me, and there was all these other people still to go, plus the big blind and small blind. So I was like, I just added. It's a $2 big blind. I added three on top, so it was five. And then I was like, maybe somebody will raise that, or pre-flop, and then I could go all in, or at least I'll get some callers, then I can move it.
Yeah.
But like I'm never fucking around pre-flop. Like because so that exactly that situation doesn't happen to me. It was just this weird like situation. Anyways,
But you've been
so that
killing
happened.
it. I mean, right? You're
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
it.
So that
You've been killing
happened.
it.
Like, that's bound to happen. Whatever. Um, so I left, and then I went and picked up my dog from the baby mama because we split custody.
Yep.
And she lives right down I used to live right down the street from where the Players is, but it wasn't there when I lived there. But that's where she lives, so I could just literally drive 2 minutes and pick up the dog afterwards.
Yeah.
And I enter in. I'm like frustrated with what happened, and I'm like looking at like online, and I just enter into a tournament right then for $5. And it ends up being 309 people in it, and I got third place. I actually had 12 million in chips when it was three, down to the final three. No, I had 17 million in chips when it was the final three, and the other two guys combined had only had 12 million. Like I was set to win this thing, and then but when it comes down to like heads up or like final three, it's like, yeah, I've got so many more chips than them. But what happens is if I lose like a big hand to them, that goes away from me and to them. So it's like a double,
Yeah.
they like come up doubly. So it's like I was up, if you're up like 5 million and that shit happens, it's like you could be only up like a million, but because whatever.
But I mean, how
So-
long has this streak been going for you, man?
For a while, for at least 6 weeks or 5 weeks, I'd say. So I got third in that one, 309 people, $5 buy-in. I made $151, so that's a 30x on my money in 3 hours of tournament play. And then I texted, so I sent you the thing where it shows like the winnings and everything at the end.
Yeah.
And then Tuesdays are my day off, and so I was chilling, and I entered into a $10,000 guarantee tournament. This time it was $55 buy-in. It's a $50 buy-in, but 5 goes to the house. And it's a knockout tournament. So I've explained that before in the pod, but real quick, it's a bounty tournament. So it's $50. Everybody's buy-in is 50, and 25 goes into the prize pool. So if you make the money, like a normal tournament, that 25 goes to that, and your other 25 is a bounty on your head. So if someone takes you out, or if I take somebody out, I get half of the bounty on their head, so $12.50, and then $12.50 gets added to my bounty. So then that would be $37.50 on my head. So if somebody takes me out, that's $18.75 they get, and then $18.75 on their head, right? So I fucking
Every
fucking
time when you talk about the knockout bounties, which you do a lot, you have like a breakdown, like a play-by-play explanation. It's awesome. Next time you do that, I want to do it because I think I
okay.
could do it. I think I could do it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it's pretty
But it's
basic, but
cool. It's like
yeah.
that's an interesting concept because it gives you a way to make money and it incentivizes you to like take chances and try to take people out because you're still guaranteeing yourself money. You know, you knock out a
Oh,
couple
for sure.
people, then like I have my bounty where like, oh, I've already made my buy-in back in and I've knocked out like 8 people. So whatever made back, whatever it
You would
cost
have
me
to
in the
knock
beginning.
out you would have to knock out 4 people
Yeah.
to get your buy-in back.
Yeah, so that okay, so 4, so that's totally worth it. That's totally worth buying
Right.
into that tournament, knowing that I could get my $4 back if I just knock a couple suckers out early in
No,
the
you get your
beginning,
$50 back
or 50
if
bucks
you knock
back.
out
Yeah,
if you knock out 4 people. Yeah. Right. And I'm a motherfucking knockout artist, dude. I want to like bathe in their fucking blood. I want to hit them right on the tip of the nose, so push their nose into their fucking brain. Like, so I knocked out
That's
26
intense.
people, more than 10% of the entire fucking field. I was in first place. We're down to the what did I get in that one? It was 14th. So we're down to the final 2 tables, and I'm in first place. I've got 4.4 million chips. Second place, 2.2 million. And then like literally 10 minutes later, I'm out of the tournament.
Damn.
Yeah, so at 14th place in that tournament, I was a 73 bucks in prize money. Because you have to remember only 25 of everybody's money went into the prize money, so it's not as, it
Yeah.
would be double that like if it wasn't a knockout. So 73, but your boy knocked out so many people that I made $326 knocking people out. And so I literally cashed $399.99, which like looks like that was like on purpose, but it's not on purpose. It just like randomly was that total.
That's pretty awesome though, because then that's what I'm saying. You've been playing for a while. You've been on this hot streak. Like I need to know when you're going to the big table.
When I'm gonna run it up.
Whenever you go to that other card house that dealer keeps telling you to go to, it's like you need to go there, man. Like,
No, he's saying go to the higher table.
oh, the higher table. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to see.
I know. I was actually texting with him. I sent him the same 2 shots I sent you, and he's like, run it up. Time to play a bigger tournament. And I was
So I'm
like,
saying,
no, dude.
like,
But no, but you have to like think about this. 4 months ago, I deposited $35 into my poker account. I've cashed out $1,000, and I've got 600 in it right now, off of 35.
well, yeah. So I'm saying,
I know, isn't that crazy?
you need to like go try your luck. You can turn 35.
No, I know. I'm going to, but the
What do you need to? What do you need to?
I'm
holding?
telling you, like, what a professional poker player, the standard is whatever your bankroll is, you don't want to buy into any game for more than 5% of it at any time. If you because like that's part of how you become a successful poker player is managing your bankroll, because you could be crushing it, go play a super high stakes game, and it's all gone, and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I buy in when I play craps. I buy in $100 at a time, and I time it out to where I go whenever they start at 10, and then that you can get grandfathered into 25 later in like a Friday night. So if you're at Caesars and you're rolling dice and you buy in at 4 o'clock and it's $10, if you're there at 6 and you're still playing when it goes to $25, you're still paying $10, and there's way more people. You have to be there when it's slow, and they'll grandfather you in at the lower buy-ins. And I buy in $100 at a time and I basically bet the minimum and slowly work it up. So you're not supposed to count your chips. I count my chips when I play craps, because if I lose $100 really quick, I just walk away. And if I could turn $100 and let's say I make $100 into $1,500, I go cash out, go to the cage, cash out, come back, buy in for $100, and then cash out, go to the cage, buy in for $100. I do it in $100 increments, and I go to the cage and take it, and that's when I'll go from like $100 to Like one time I went with $300 in cash. Started out with $100. Didn't spend any money. Dinner, drinks, food for 5 days in Vegas, and I came home with like 9 or 10 grand.
Fuck yeah.
Like, and it was just like stupid. I can get on a hot streak. I went and bought a bunch of money, or spent a bunch of money at the Venetian and bought people like gifts and shit, because I was like, dude, I'm crushing it. I gotta buy like so and so something to be nice. This is awesome. On the way back to the room, I saw the weird Eastern European guy, and I saw the weird cat lady charm bracelet girl. They were playing, bought in for $100, made back all the money that I just spent, and then $500, and then went to the room and put my shit up. It was just like the hottest run fucking ever, and that's what I got that to.
He has a tattoo
The
of
match.
a match on his
Dice
wrist.
hand on my dice hand. I wish I didn't get it, but I can't. I guess I could get rid of it, but it's like, it's awesome. And
I'd say like it's got to be at least the number 1 or 2 things that you don't want to say about a tattoo after you get it. Is I wish I didn't get it.
well, I just never wanted to get a tattoo on my right arm, and then I did. But it's like, this is my dice hand, and I was like, ooh, this is gonna jinx me. I'm gonna crash now because.
Well, you are with an attitude like that.
and it hasn't happened. So
Hey,
So-
they can't take you down.
like,
homie.
no, I hit roll 'em all twice when I was in that week, which is where you have to roll every single numerical number, snake eyes, box cars, a 7, an 11, every single number without crapping out in a single turn. It's 150 to 1 odds. And there was this crazy Eastern European dude who was gross and smelled terrible, wore the same shirt every day, big greasy gold medallion. He'd be coming in and out with the bag, and he had like $100 on it. So when I hit that, and he was loaded, so every time, roll them all, and so it was someone's turn, he'd put like $20, $50, whatever, and he put money down, and I hit it, and I didn't even realize it because I was like, pfft. And you know, there's recreational weed just became a thing out there, so it was like, we're in Vegas, babe. And he gave me like a couple grand. He was like, dude, that was awesome. And then every single time the rest of the trip when we played together, he'd put a $50 bet down for me and he put $100 down for himself. No shit. And then I hit it again like 3 days later. So I had $50 on the 150 to 1 odds, and I just got a cash out because he made that bet for me. And the amount of rolling and numbers you hit that you make for the table when you do that is absurd. That means that I rolled a 3, and then I rolled and rolled and rolled and didn't crap out, and I hit on a 3, and then I hit on a 4, and then I hit on a 5, all different jumbled up.
Can you hit on 3s twice?
Yeah, I mean it would count, but you have to hit every single number. So there's like,
but you're allowed to repeat.
Yeah,
and
you
it
can
doesn't
repeat.
Like, it
It's-
doesn't have to be all in like.
it's crap
in a
out.
row.
If you crap
Yeah.
out, if you crap out. But I think that includes
As long as you hit 1 through 6 at one time without crapping out, then you hit the 150.
And I think it includes like a first roll crap out where you roll like box cars and it's like, but it's still your turn. It's like every single number, and there's a little on the top, like it's not all casinos. Like if you go to Harris or something, some of them don't, but you go to like Vegas, they all do it. It's at the very top,
standard.
and it's got these little like things where they'll mark off each number down the line. But whenever you're doing that, people are like, oh, like 4, like hard 4, and then you roll a 4 and it ends up being a hard 4. That dude is like geeking the fuck out, and everybody's money on the board just stays. So if I'm rolling a 10, a 9, an 8, a 10, a 7, or a 10, an 8, a 4, a 3, a 2, and then everyone's making money.
Everybody's winning. Yeah.
So everybody's just vibing.
Except for the no pass line.
Yeah, and I had a guy last time I went to roll craps. I think I just went to WinStar, and everybody was crapping out, and on the other side of the table, and this dude's like, fuck this dude, and and I'd been waiting, and I put like $100 down for myself with like 300 on the odds. Then I rolled a 4, and then I hit the 4, and that dude was so fucking pissed. He played the don't pass line like 3 times in a row against me, and then he just started playing the board because he wanted to get his money back. And it was like whoop, and then I I walked away. I was like, all right, cool, I'm up like $600.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a couple more of betting here. Real quick, poker. So on Thursday when I went in, or Friday, Thursday or Friday, when I was playing, I went and sat down at the table, and this guy who was at the table, and he just was happened to be just right across from me. He's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "No, no, no, no. This guy's like a professional. I don't want to play with him." And I was like, like, I thought he was kidding, and he was like, he's like, "Nah, seriously." And then like, I was like, "Whatever." And then like, literally, four hands later, he got up and left the table because I sat down, and I was like, "That's what I'm talking about. That's the fucking respect." I
Yeah.
was like, I probably took his money and forgot like who the fuck he was, but like, I was like, okay, more of
Oh,
that,
and
more of that.
like the last day that I was there, I had a buddy who I was with, and he's a character, and he was so fucked up, and he'd lost like like all of his money. He was down to like $300, and he'd lost like 8 or 9 grand. This guy's got a bunch of money, but he lost a shit ton. And then the last day, I mean, that night he made all of his money back plus like 3 or 4 grand just betting the board. Not even like betting, just playing numbers while I was rolling. And then he'd wait, and then he'd play numbers when I would roll, and won all of his fucking money back. I was like, "Thank you so much." Like, oh, I was like, "Nah, bro, like it is what it is." He ended up he was taking wild chances, but and like I was the last day I was there, I was walking. I looked like a local dude. I was in like athletic shorts and like sandals down there, like rolling dice. 7 winner. I'm like, fuck yeah. Hell yeah, it's the best.
Okay, all right. So then, so 2 weekends ago, my buddy Figs, who does the music on our pod, him and his wife were having his wife's former coworker slash friend over that she hadn't seen in a while, and he asked if me and the Iron Ape wanted to come through. So we went over, hung out, and the friend is like super hot, and and I'm like, okay. So like we go out, we have like a really good ass time, and like like we go downtown, like we ate dinner at their house, and then I drive everybody downtown. Advantage of your boy doesn't drink. It's like, because I'm like the one who's like pushing the party. I'm like, yo, like let's go. Like, what spot are we going to? I'm like, and then they're like, I'm like, I'm driving. They're like, oh fuck yeah. So like we went downtown, had a really good time. She got pretty drunk. Was talking about going to brunch the next day, and then I used that like as I was leaving. I was like, remember we're gonna go to brunch. Like, let me get your number. And then I got it. I wasn't like sure if she was into it at all, but like I was batting like 1,000 that night. Like I was making her laugh, and like on the way home, she's like, Andy, and everybody's in my car, like, and she's in the front seat. She's like, you know what? She's like, we're a perfect combo, and I was like, I agree, but tell me why. And she's like, well, you, and like shit like that, you know. And then so anyways, so then the Iron Ape was like texting this chick like on the couch when we were like in the club dancing the whole time. So anyways, that chick was mad that he didn't tell her that he was downtown, but then he tells me a couple days later that she wants to go quote rage downtown this last Saturday. So then I use that. I hit up the girl, Lucy's her name, the girl that I'm into. I hit her up and I'm like, hey, Tyson's going out with this chick. She wants to rage downtown. He's like, you want to go out with them? And she was like, oh yeah, I'm down. And then on Saturday morning, my boss hits me up. He's like, hey, I'll pay you $100 cash if you go clean this pool real quick. And I was like, okay, I'll go do that. So I do that, and as I'm leaving, Tyson texts me, or the Iron Ape texts me, that he got ghosted by that girl, and
Damn.
I get texted by Lucy saying like she's not going out tonight because it was like windy and it was raining, and I was like, ah, no, and then uh, well, she said that, first I got that text from her, then Tyson sent me that. So then she's like, well, like you and Tyson will have fun, whatever. So then I like text her back 30 minutes later. I'm like, oh, Tyson got ghosted by that girl, And then she asked me if I liked UFC, and I was like, wow, are you going out somewhere to watch it? And then she was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this place. You want to come? And I was like, yeah. And then like 30 minutes later, she's like, okay, and I'm gonna bring my roommate. And I was like, oh, cool. And then so I hit the Iron Ape. I was like trying to get him to come out, but he was all tired. And I'm like, dude, she's gonna bring her roommate, and he's like not into it. So I'm like, fine. So I go to meet her and her roommate over at this place called Sunset Terrace, and they have the UFC fights playing,
Yeah.
and they have a cover charge. I got there right before them because they were waiting for an Uber. I get up there. There's a cover charge of $10, So I'm like, let me go get some cash. I go to the ATM, and it's like right where people are walking into this like outdoor mall, and I'm getting the cash at the ATM, and I hear Lucy's voice, and I look to my left, and there's Lucy, and she's with a guy, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, you brought like a guy roommate? I'm like, oh great. And then I look harder, and it's my coworker John, who's with her, and there's like less than 10 people that work with me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like trying to process this happening. She happens to be roommates with my fucking coworker. She rents a room from him at his house. And like earlier in the week, she randomly did ask me what's the name of the company that I work for, and I told her. And then I was like, that's kind of weird. I wonder why she like wanted to know that. But so they knew that what was happening, that I worked with them, but they didn't say anything until they they set us up, and then I saw them, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is crazy. So that happened. So UFC fights are going on, and my sports book offers me a free entry into a contest to win $10,000, and you make like 16 like um, prop bets, like picks, and the caveat is you have to put $25 down on UFC 300 any way you want, and you can spread it out. So I'm like, all right. And then so I thought I was spreading it out, but I accidentally bet twice on the main event. Same guy, Alex Pereira, to win in the first. And when I saw that, I still had to spend more money, so I just put it all in there. And Lucy knows everything there is to know about the UFC. And I'm like, I'm telling you, this is gonna be quick. Don't blink. It'll be done in the first round. And all I did was look at stats for 30 minutes while I was making all my 16 picks. I don't watch the UFC at all. And then my coworker John's like, "I'll bet you on this." I was like, "Don't, dude. That'll be the fastest $20 you lose. It'll be done before you even know it." Fucking fight starts, knockout, 1 minute. Lucy looks at me like I'm a god. She's like, "What the fuck? How did you
And
know?"
you're like, I looked at the stats.
I was like, I looked at the fucking stats, and what the stats showed me, because one of the things was who's gonna have the most total strikes landed in that fight. So I looked at like their last like 10 fights and how many strikes they have landed.
Yeah.
And both these guys just like they either had like a couple hundred or like six because it ended, you know?
Yeah.
So they're throwing punches like, and so I was like, okay, somebody's going to get knocked the fuck out here
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
And it happened so quick. I was telling our boy over at AZ Smoke Shop, shout out, about that, and he goes, dude, I was at a party watching it. My buddy got he was like too drunk, and I went to go help him. And when I came back, the fight was over. I was so fucking pissed. And I was like, I could have told you, don't leave.
Yeah, when you get to that main card, just don't leave.
Right. So that happened. And then we like bar hopped a little bit, and then I drove my coworker and Lucy back to their pad, and it's like a sick ass pad, and like it's like boom now, and they have so many friends, so it's just like opened up this whole world, and it's just fucking so weird that it's like I met her because my like one of my best friends like wife's friends with her, and then a week, it's like,
And then
and that coworker got hired like. Yeah, he got hired like at the exact same time as me too. It's like it's so weird.
That's weird.
And then, what was this weekend as well? The Masters of golf, and me, Figs, the Quant, and my brother always bet on the majors, and we hit like 5 times. Like we're fucking, it's uncanny how many times we can pick the major winner. So we made 4 bets, but we only picked one to win. Scotty Scheffler. Now you could say, oh, he was the favorite. Well, guess what? When he won the Masters 2 years ago, his third appearance there, hadn't won shit. Who did we pick? Scotty Scheffler.
No, whenever I saw his name, I that's when I see him, I think about that bet that that you've made and like you've hit.
Yeah.
Like with him.
Because like we talk about it in a group text for like a couple weeks out, but what usually ends up happening is like there'll be a guy that I like that somebody else likes, and we hadn't talked about it, and so somebody would be like, what about Scheffler? I'm like, dude, that's my guy, and then we'll all agree on it, and so we hit it, and it was plus 510. So so basically, so my brother set it out. So we all just put in 50 each. So we had 150. We spread it evenly amongst 4 bets. Scheffler to win, Brooks Koepka and Xander Schauffele to make top 5, and then our boy Sahith the Gala la 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 the Gala. He's Indian.
Yeah.
To make the top 10, and so we won the Scheffler. That was our best odds that we had, and so basically it paid for all of our other bets. We all got our money back plus like 23 on top each.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Well,
but had we put all of our money there, the 150 all of it on him, it would have been a $750 back. But speaking of hot tricks, you know what I'm saying? Bet the main event UFC, hit it. Bet the Masters, hit it.
Knockout
Out here knocking
tournaments,
out
yeah.
people, yeah.
All right, man. Well, shout out to you. Let's get into these therapy questions.
All right, yeah. As we do, we start with therapy questions, just 50 minutes. Therapy question number 1, Joseph. Would you rather be an infamous villain or an unknown superhero?
Infamous villain.
Fuck yeah.
Part of it is there's just some mystique about it, which sounds bad, but like normally they just, what is it? I can't remember what it's from, but it's like they're not villains. They just wanted to reshape the world into something of their own image, which is like ludicrous. But you look at like Ozymandias and the Watchmen. One of my favorites, Doctor Doom, is a very good character. Lex Luthor is one of those types of characters where they're a villain, but they're villain with like a cause. It's like a counter cause. But I unknown superhero will be lame. I mean, what is
No
this?
shit. And also,
Unbreakable is this glass, dude. Am I Bruce Willis is working at a stadium, but I'm saving everybody that lives in like the greater Baltimore area. But fuck me, I just work at the stadium and nobody can know. Water's my weakness. Samuel L. Jackson in a wheelchair and a purple suit's coming to kill me. Get out of here. Fuck that. I'd rather be Doctor Doom and like live on Antarctica and everyone like fuck off and be wondering what I'm doing, but not really be sure, but I'm up to something and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna change everything. And not on some like scary level shit, but I'd rather be a villain. For sure.
Yeah, me too. And the adage that I think is true is you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain. So if you're gonna become a villain anyways, because your boy's gonna outlive everybody, might as well be an infamous villain from the jump instead of like some unknown superhero turn villain.
It's like, and like Batman is obviously a hero. He doesn't have superpowers, so he's not a superhero. But there also is a...
Are you saying Batman is not a superhero?
Well, he's not. I mean, he doesn't have superpowers. He has super gadgets and shit. But I mean, yeah, he's a hero. You can't say he's
is
a
that
super...
is that a thing? Is like people take the super off of when
Some people do. I might be like opening up some Pandora's box and I might get like bombarded with like hate tweets, but I am just saying, like, I mean, he doesn't have superpowers. He's like a crazy rich guy who's a vigilante, and there is villainous aspects to Batman. He's infamous. Cops want to capture him. The end of Dark Knight. Everybody's...
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
he's... But that I think that's the story in a lot of this, like, Marvel Universe shit, is, like, that the villain, like, was, like, about to... Like, what about in, the Dark Knight, who's... Harvey, who gets like his face all burned, and then he becomes the villain, but he was like the prosecutor, good guy.
Yeah, and then so Batman took the fall for killing him and doing those murders and made it look like he did it, so that way Harvey Dent could still become a hero and inspire Gotham to be better. And that's what that hero became, a villain in the eyes of the people he was saving. That's where it's like he's a vigilante, so it's a little bit different. That's why people love Deadpool, is because Deadpool is so sarcastic, makes fun of the situation, makes fun of the superheroes. He's like antagonistic to them. He's very apathetic. He could give two fucks until like something directly affects him. And when he does, he normally shows up, saves everybody's ass, and they're annoyed with the fact that he did. And then he makes fun of them for having to save them. And that's why people gravitate to that, because there's a realness to that, or a realness to Batman that doesn't exist in Superman, because he's not from here. He's not. He's
but
a
also, but I mean, is that actually true throughout the history of those characters, or is that true because Christopher Nolan took over the Batman franchise and made it edgy, And then the Deadpool franchise is like obviously the first rated R superhero movie, whatever.
No, because I mean, outside of maybe Wolverine, there ain't a lot of homies in the X-Men that are like wandering around and can pretend like they're not a mutant. Like the mutants have superpowers, so they're not even
Wolverine.
Wolverine's superpower is that he has ultra. He has like super regenerative
No, I'm
healing
saying he
abilities.
can walk around.
Exactly. I
without-
said outside of Wolverine, there's not very many, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
knows
yeah,
who the
yeah.
fuck he is, and he'll let you know real quick because he's like ornery as fuck. But
And Deadpool and Wolverine are having a movie together. Start paying your boys.
very true. And like even Deadpool can't because he's so gross. If he does, he's like a ridiculous burn victim. He looks crazy, so he wears the suit, and he does some, but most of the time he's covered, right? So like, but they all have superpowers, so they can't relate in the way that like Batman or Robin or fuck even Daredevil with his blind ass. These people that have the ability to walk amongst people and have an alter ego and be like, oh well, that's
What
not
about
me.
Superman?
Tony Stark as Iron Man. But
Superman?
yeah, he can, but he still has superpowers. So he doesn't relate.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't
Like, he can
relate.
still walk around.
But he doesn't relate to humans on the same level as Batman would, or as Daredevil would, or as these guys who are a super or a hero, or choose to be a hero based off of a choice, not because they have these powers. Therefore, they have to do it. Batman chooses to do it, and creates the means to accomplish his goals, like Iron Man. Iron Man and Thor are not the same. Iron Man would die, but he's the ultimate hero because he sacrificed himself. Anybody else probably could have snapped their fingers and not died. Maybe.
Ryan Reynolds plays Deadpool, right?
Yes.
I get people think that I'm Ryan Reynolds all the time. Like when I'm walking around after the burn, after he got burned.
Okay. Nice. Very good. But yeah, I mean, and also it's unknown superhero. So then, yeah, I guess you could, but then it'd be like, I have superpowers, nobody understands me. There's a lot of stress. Why are you always dipping out at night? You're always leaving and like, you're always going and changing clothes and then going out the bedroom window where you go, oh, you'd be you'd have a lot of explaining.
Yeah, I want
to
like the
do.
key to the city and shit if
Fuck
I'm like
yeah.
out here like saving lives.
Now, that's where you would need like to conceal yourself, so people would know you're a superhero, but they would know who you are. So
No, I'm saying as a superhero, I want to be recognized. I
Yeah.
don't want to be unknown.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be Bruce Willis in Unbreakable.
Yeah, nobody does.
And you drown in a puddle. Get the fuck out of here, homeboy. What is that?
Saddest fucking thing I've ever seen. Therapy question number 2. Joseph, would you rather be reincarnated as a sea creature or an airborne creature?
Those are both honestly really shitty choices. I'm like, which environment's more destroyed? I mean, it'd be cooler to be a sea creature because there's so much more to explore. There is more unexplored oceans. There's more we don't know shit about the ocean.
Are you an explorer?
I'd rather do that than just be
Are
flying.
you Christopher fucking Columbus?
No, but I mean, if I'm like, you know what I'm saying, a sea creature, I could come back as an otter dog. I could come back as a platypus. I could come back as a.
Are they sea creatures?
Hey, is it? They live
I
in
mean,
water.
there is otters that hang out in the Pacific Ocean up in like Monterey. So yeah,
No.
that's true.
I mean, there's got to be some. Or it'd be cool. You could be a sea lion. That would suck. You know, most people would pick a shark. I'd want to come back as like a killer whale or some shit like that. Too big to fuck with. I could eat a great white shark if I saw it, and it wouldn't fuck with me. So
I'd have to go blue whale, dude. Like, don't they live like super fucking long and they're the biggest and like they're kind of like spiritual type beings.
No, that would be tight, or like a whale shark. That'd be tight.
Yeah.
Because the bigger, the deeper it could go. So I just there'd be so much that I haven't seen that if you are a sea creature, it would expose you to more of the life on Earth. Rather than being a bird, that'd be tight and the views would be good. People like, yep, this is fucking New York. Yeah.
I had a mansplain to this girl the other day that, you know, the bigger it is, the deeper I can go, you know?
Stupid. But
I would rather be airborne because, like, I don't want to hang out in the fucking ocean. I want to hang out where like everybody else is, like, you know.
There'd be you bump into people, creatures you've never even seen
Yeah,
before.
I'd rather be hanging out like flying over, checking out like concerts and shit whenever the fuck I want, taking shits on like Trump's head, like and then cruising over and like swooping like somebody's like fries out of their hand at Central Park. Fuck it.
Nah, I'd be like, oh shit, it's a megalodon. I'd want to be seeing like all some wild ocean shit. That'd be tight. It'd be like living in space.
What if you were like a pelican? Because then you're fucking with the ocean and
yeah, but your lifespan would be shorter. So in the sea, I feel like you'd have a longer lifespan. As long as
I'll be an owl. They live longer.
Owl would be tight. Owl would be tight.
Woo!
And I'd want to be carnivorous. I don't want to be like scooping plankton. That's why I wouldn't want to be a blue whale. Like I just like and just flying with my mouth open.
That's what I
all
feel
the
like
time.
when I'm in with the net in the pool.
Yeah,
I'm like that's what I was saying like to the Iron Ape when we were doing training. I'm like, bro, I'm a whale getting plankton.
Yeah.
He was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but it's true. So I mean, I'd want to be like an orca. Those live for a long time, pretty long time. They're pretty big and they're fast and
and
things
and
don't.
they hang out like in a family.
Yeah, and they don't, and they like communicate and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
So like that'd be tight. It'd be cool to like.
It's definitely got to be a dolphin to whale level of intelligence for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be, or like it'd be. I know I've talked about it before. Mantis shrimp would be tight as hell. You'd be seeing like, you would have the best.
Speaking of short lifespans, bro.
Yeah, but you would have like the best vision known on the planet. Like you'd be able to be seeing like you'd see like UV lights coming through. It'd be it'd be trippy as fuck. It might be short, but that'd be a wild trip. It'd be longer than a DMT trip, that's for sure. But,
Well, I guess maybe you want it short because then you can get the fuck out of the ocean and reincarnate something else.
yeah, something else. But bird, I get it'd have to be what type of bird? Like you know what I'm saying? Like a peregrine falcon,
It doesn't have to be a bird, just
a harpy eagle. I'd want to be something big as fuck. Like
yeah,
oh,
like a
shit.
bald eagle obviously is the number one animal on Earth.
America.
Freedom.
Yeah, freedom. That's true. It's the bird.
You know
of
why
freedom.
why there's no knock knock jokes about America? Because freedom rings.
Damn.
Therapy question number 3. Would you rather have unlimited sushi for life or unlimited tacos for life? Both are amazingly delicious and can be any type of sushi/taco you want.
Oh, tacos for sure. Because then I could get a sushi taco. So if I really wanted sushi, people make them. I can get a sushi taco. Loophole. Boom. Done.
You can't get a taco sushi.
I don't think so. I think they'd be like, get the fuck out of here, dude. But yeah, I mean,
but like a taco is like, you can literally make 1,000 things, like use different meats, different whatever.
Yeah.
Like, a taco's like it's a platform. Sushi, it's like, you got to be a sea creature, bro.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I'd say like, tacos is an instrument.
And also like you're the dude who has unlimited tacos, but like if you had unlimited sushi, like yo, you want to eat some of the sushi? Be like, I don't know, dude. Like like where'd that sushi come from? Like I'm not like my brother tries to get sushi delivered all the time, and I just won't even order it anymore. I'm like, no, it sucks every time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what is it? Tacos would be music. Sushi would be an instrument. If you had that, because you could listen to all the instruments at once. It wouldn't matter what it was. It'd be a fucking taco. It'd be a fucking taco. But it's like, oh
there
no,
you go, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Talk shit or get off the pod. Tacos are music. Sushi's an instrument.
So you can like listening to like clarinet, but it's better if it's with a jazz band. You know what I'm saying? Give me like a boudin and hot sausage taco. Fuck yeah, that sounds good. Give me fried chicken taco.
Breakfast taco. Dessert taco.
Choco
taco.
Boom. And they're bringing that back, son. Choco taco's coming back.
Pink
son.
taco, you know what I'm saying?
Actually, that is a place that makes really good tacos, and they're awesome.
It's a place I like to be.
Also, velvet taco. That's a Texas thing, though.
Here we go.
Overhyped.
So tacos over sushi because we're American. Therapy question number 4. Would you rather find your true love or a suitcase with $5 million inside?
I mean, with inflation, man, I don't know. Like 5 million ain't 5 million. It ain't like it used to be. No, I mean, that's a tough question. Finding your true love would be great, so you'd find happiness in life that would last longer than probably that $5 million. Right?
No, not if you're investing it, right? I think once you have 5 million, you're never,
Well,
you
yeah. Then
never have less. You never have less.
well, that's like being like, would you rather have this, you know,
I would take the 5 million, man. I'll find my true love on my own. Thank
with
you.
with my with five
Yeah.
million dollars?
And guess what? It'll be a lot easier with my 5 million. I'll have a lot more freedom.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of them would actually be your true love. The other one would be she says that you're her true love.
Well, I don't believe that. Do you believe that there's one true love?
I mean, I think that's a naive way to look at it. That's something that people say when
Right.
they're like,
I think that once you get to a true love, it should be the only one you get to, right? Unless some fucked up shit happens.
yeah, I think to discover what that would even be for yourself, you have to like figure that out.
There should only be one true love in your life, but I don't think there's only one person who that is, you know?
Well, I mean, like, yeah.
Many people could be your one true love.
Well, and that's also what I'm saying is like you have to almost like realize what is not a quality and what you would want your true love or somebody you would truly love to be before you appreciate those things in somebody, right? So it's like, oh, well, I'm
And you
thankful
also have
for
to
all
build
the
it.
bad boyfriends or girlfriends I had so that I understand what I want and what I need out of this so that I can find that person. If you don't know what those things are for yourself, you're never actually going to find those qualities. You're not just going to like, oh, bump. You're not going to, there very rarely is like the first person you dated your true love and now you're married. And like, I think we know some people that happens, but there's a lot of people that did not happen with. And it was like
Yeah, for sure.
super quick, right? And those like, and some of those, the ones that I can think of are, yeah, like 7th grade, 6th grade, and they're like married with kids, and that's fucking awesome. But based
Well,
on,
the one person that you're bringing up, I was the first person who told everybody that his now wife, was hot. She was in my Spanish class. I'm like, yo, y'all are sleeping on this girl.
no, well, I mean, not even just that, but what I am saying is,
No, I just saying that specific.
but like you, in the, like, you're not going to know what those things are unless you find out what you don't like.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I just heard
Yeah.
a stew on Below Deck last night say,
Of course.
I'm tired of raising other people's husbands. Meaning she gets all like the dumb fuck boys who treat her like shit, but she teaches them how to be better people, and then they move on to like the next girl when they're like more trained as a significant other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, and then, but then also that's 50.
But that's what you're saying. Like-
yeah,
like,
but no, because
they're going through that. They're going through that experience of learning, like how to be like, or what they want in a relationship, how to behave in a relationship, and then they're getting it like from someone after that. So she's just like the one who's like being like the trainer, and then never getting like the actual finished product is, I guess, what she said.
no, for sure. And well, and that sounds like you're just like dating shitty dudes. But I'm saying you're like, oh
Right,
man,
right.
I was, you know, sophomore in college, and I dated this girl, and she was like super toxic, crazy clingy, would show up all the time at my play, like do all this weird crazy shit. I can't deal with any of that shit. And if I ever date a person again who does something like that, I'm walking first sign of it. You learn that because most of the time you've dealt with some crazy shit like that. Like you don't
I
realize
know,
that,
but you know me, dude. You know me. Red flags are green flags.
yeah, and for some people,
I'm seeking that shit out.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so for,
like I was with a super non-toxic chick, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Get me the fuck out of here! I need her to like threaten to kill me."
well, and that's what you need to be involved with somebody. Then find that. That's why some people that are crazy, they're like they've been married for 35 years. And it's like, how is your dad married to this bitch? Well, he fucking loves her and he likes crazy chicks. Like that's just like I know some guys like that are they're nuts. But in this, I mean, that's where finding your one true love, yeah, that would be great. $5 million, you could invest it. You could start, open up a Carl's Jr. franchise somewhere and get the bag.
Nah, just give me that money, and I'll give you back 20 in a year.
And I'll show up with 2 of my true loves.
Motherfucker. They true until they not. You scallywags.
All right, now we can talk about OJ.
Okay. Are you opposed to an intermission?
No, we can. We can do a little intermission. I'm fine with that.
Okay, it is 9:40. We'll be back at 9:50.
You love these intermissions, man.
I don't always feel like it's necessary, but I mean, we've been going for over an hour, and I do want to hit these topics fresh.
Word. Well, yeah, no, we can't. It's already on the pause screen. It's just audio running. I'm queuing up some jazz.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, we're back.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for this evening's topics. Joseph, start us up.
Am I gonna get this screen? There we go. Welcome back. Topic number one. I mean, O.J. Simpson is dead. We talked about it earlier. This is from Yahoo Entertainment. There's so many different articles. I didn't want to pick something super goofy, but this one is interesting because, like we talked about before, O.J. Simpson found not guilty when it came to the murder of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, his ex-wife, estranged wife, and then her waiter guy that she was dating and seeing.
No, was she dating him? She wasn't dating him. She forgot her sunglasses
That's
at
what
the
it was.
restaurant, and
Yeah,
he came to grab them and give her back to her.
That's right. I'm trying, but
They didn't even know each other.
No, but so if you watch, I think that's kind of debatable if they knew each other or not.
Well,
But
I guess they probably did since he knew where.
because they were on like first name basis because like
Maybe she was like a regular at the
she
restaurant.
frequents the place. So and OJ was extremely chaotic and crazy, which we'll get into in a second. But he died owing over $100 million to the Browns, to the families. Because he was found guilty in civil court. So yeah, he was ordered to pay $33.5 million after being found liable in a wrongful death suit in civil court. Civil court is not a criminal conviction. I argued this with somebody the other day because he died when I was in Chicago. The day that it got announced, it was like I was in Chicago. And I was arguing with this bartender at Paisanos. Shout out Paisanos, super good. Hot Italian beef. But in a lot of cases, they'll use civil court as a way because the restrictions or the rules in civil court and the degree of guilt that you have to prove would be like 51%. It just has to be
It's not without a reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
it's just
the preponderance of the evidence is what it's
more
called.
likely this happened than not.
Yeah, it's more likely than not that person did this because he did that. And he was found guilty in that. Now, that came after he was found not guilty in a criminal suit. A lot of times you'll see what they're doing with Donald Trump. They'll file a civil fraud suit against him in the Trump organization. And if criminal charges stem from that, all of the evidence that's presented in civil court is then admissible basically in criminal court. And you could use those testimonies, those depositions, those statements that are made in civil court. Some of that is applicable when it comes to criminal court.
But with OJ, he had the criminal trial first.
Yeah, he had the criminal trial first, and then that didn't go through. So in response, there was a civil suit filed against the estate, and there was a lot of things said, other witnesses that wouldn't be admissible in criminal court that were, and then he was obviously found guilty. And based off of the overwhelming evidence, and you take out testimony, racism when it comes to the LAPD, obviously some of the blood evidence was definitely planted. Not
100%.
Like because
like that, nobody's even like arguing that.
Because there was literal like what's it called? Whatever they put preservers that only exist in blood if it's being stored somewhere and is being transported, that it keeps it from like going, and you can separate it. The only way you get it into the blood is if it's been drawn and then been preserved and used somewhere else. And there some of those things.
Why do you know so much about that, Joseph?
Because it's like one of the most polarizing court cases.
Are you the Black Dexter?
It's whenever.
Are you Blexter?
No, because it's one of the first cases where there was a lot of DNA evidence.
No, I know.
And people still didn't believe DNA evidence, so it was like still trying to convince people that this is as accurate as it says it was.
No, it's way less accurate than it got. It's people started to believe it way too much. Like a lot of cases are getting overturned that they use DNA evidence because it's like it's not as like fucking foolproof as they thought.
But a lot of these motherfuckers that are doing the DNA evidence are like they've locked people away. In some states they've overturned. I think it was just there was one blood forensics guy who was goofing reports, and they've had to look at and redo like 10,000 cases that this guy's an expert on. Like, yes. Yeah, you can, but like in this time, people just didn't think that DNA was like a thing. Like it wasn't
right.
as accurate as it was like a lie detector test.
Like
right?
it definitely is. Yeah, it's not a lie detector. It definitely is useful, but it has flaws in it. It's not like, oh, got your DNA, you're done.
So I mean, is it more likely than not that OJ did it? Absolutely. Or there's a
He
theory.
did it.
There's a theory that his son did it, which we'll talk about in 2 seconds.
Okay.
But the fact that the LAPD was like overzealous in charging first. They should have done more due diligence and had better people, but that's more of a reflection of the LAPD. It hasn't really gotten any
No,
better
the
since.
LAPD was just so used to framing black people that they just like felt like they had to frame him, even though like they didn't. It's
And
like,
there was like it was the riots that were going on. There was also
the riots like
Rodney
4
King.
years.
Yeah, well,
Well,
Rodney King. Yeah,
Rodney King, the riots started because of Rodney King.
yeah,
And that was 4 years prior.
yeah. And then what I'm saying is there was still like a powder keg ready to explode.
100%.
But I mean, was it more likely or not that he did it? Yes. Did they definitely plant some of the blood evidence to like over incriminate him? Absolutely. Did they have pretty much a full proof case and they shot themselves in the foot by like malpractice and bad evidence and like just being corrupt fucking cops? Absolutely. If they just would have actually done their jobs for the first time correctly, OJ would have probably been in prison.
100%.
But then the amount was ballooned to over $100 million due to the interest that's occurred. So he's never paid the $33.5 million, and then it's ballooned over $100 million because he hasn't fucking paid anybody. And people say, "How is O.J. Simpson rich?" O.J. Simpson has a full-blown pension from the NFL that can't be touched.
Yeah, the pensions can't be touched in like a civil case like that.
Yeah, so he still gets all of his maximum retirement, Hall of Fame bust. Dude, he still got all of that. And did he move money and did he do shady shit with money? Absolutely. You couldn't sit here and say that like OJ Simpson's dumb. Like I wouldn't say that OJ Simpson's stupid. I'd say he's a piece of shit and he's like a narcissist and he is a psycho and makes mistakes because he's so wrapped up in himself that he drops the ball. But is he a smart enough businessman
But you were
to
saying
hide money? Fuck yeah.
We'll say what you were saying like when we were talking before the pod about like he was like the first spokesperson.
Yeah. So I mean, well, just a little bit
So
more. So
my point is that he's known for knowing how to get money. Like so.
Yeah, I mean, he died
Like,
of
he's smart.
prostate
Like,
cancer. Died of
yeah.
prostate
Oh yeah.
cancer.
Like before we keep going, like when I saw like I got the like notification from like the Washington Post or whatever from my news app, and I saw that I'm like, what? And then like later that day I found out he was 76, and I'm like, oh. I was like, that's not bad at all. I was like, I'm surprised he lived that long.
So he was
I was
getting
like, black really doesn't crack.
he was getting $400,000 a year from NFL pensions and the Screen Actors Guild and other sources, but they were protected from seizures. So he was making like basically like $500,000 every year.
It's good that it got to
Which
400.
means whenever he was in prison in Vegas, which we'll talk about as well, he was still collecting that. He just wasn't spending it. So he was still making hundreds of thousands of dollars while he was in jail for like that, almost 10-year stint over the, getting his memorabilia back, which we'll talk to. But, yeah, I mean, so he had the money to pay it. He had the money to pay it before. A decade after the civil trial, he released a book originally titled O.J. Simpson, If I Did It, Here's How It Would Happen. However, it was scrapped for public outcry. That was dumb.
And then you know what happened?
The Goldman family claimed the rights to the book.
Yeah, the Goldmans, they took the rights to the book and released it because all the proceeds from the book would go to them anyways.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, fucking release this. We need the money.
Yeah, but I changed it to If I Did It, Confessions of a Killer. She's on the manual on how to commit murder and called The Profits from the Book Blood Money. Yeah, so O.J. Simpson, obviously Heisman Trophy winner, played at UFC, grew up in the projects, was always kind of treated a little bit differently when it came to how he was treated in the community. There's a great documentary made in America, the O.J. Simpson story, which is really great, that delves into all the way back to his past, would sell out his friends, always wanted to kind of be associated. You would say that like he wanted to be hanging out with all of the white kids at school all the time.
100%.
And but wanted to be black, but would sell out his black friends in a heartbeat. And like knew how to do this, like would change his attitude, changed how he talked. So he was very well groomed, and he tried to, he wanted to be the most palatable black man. He was like Wayne Brady if he was good at sports, in like still kind of racial tension America.
He's more like
He was likable.
He's more like Michael Jackson if Michael Jackson was trying to be white instead of just he had vitiligo and it went too far.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, I mean, you're everybody's like,
But don't you think it was like he was like more?
But Wayne
like,
Brady was.
I wish I was white. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I guess. But I mean, yes and no. I think that he wanted to be treated like he was white by white people. He wanted to be treated as
He
a
was
white
like,
people.
he was like, I got rich, I made it, and I'm pulling the ladder up.
But this is this was going on when they were like teenagers, when they were in school, like growing up. So there was a lot of people who were like, nah, man, like the black kids at school don't really fuck with OJ because he'd be cool, and then he'd like do some slick shit and sell us the fuck out and make us get in trouble and try to separate himself from us. Like he was different from us. But then when no one's around, he wanted to be our friend. But he went to USC, All-American, USC great, a great college running back, one of the top 50 college football players all time. Then went to the NFL, first person to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. One year he averaged like over 145 yards a game, which is the second highest total to like Jim Brown, I think, in like a single season for like yards per game. Just unreal athlete at Buffalo, ended up playing at the 49ers. Not trying to glorify, this is just context. Like, he had the nation's attention when he was like 18 and in college. People were obsessed with O.J. Simpson. Then after he retired from football, even when he was playing football, O.J. Simpson is notorious for being the person who bridged the gap for athletes to do nationwide endorsements. Hertz Rent-A-Car, like isotoner gloves, all that goofy shit, like the whole bit in Ace Ventura where Dan Marino's selling gloves. Like, O.J. Simpson created that market.
Wait. He was selling gloves.
I mean, he would just be like
and then the
pitch
glove
man.
doesn't fit. You must have quit. Was
Well,
like,
I mean, that was obviously that was. Come on.
But I didn't know that he was like hawking gloves. And
I
then,
mean,
like,
I don't know if he actually was.
And then
that was just
his murder gloves were like such a big deal.
No, I mean, I chose a glove because of the context. But I mean, he was one of, if not the first.
Wait, he didn't sell gloves, or did he?
I don't think he did. I just said it was. Come on, man, you can't say glove without talking about OJ. You gotta.
I know. Well, you like the way isotope.
Highbrow. Well, isotoners were popular at a time.
I know, but I thought you were trying to like educate people on the shit that.
No,
he was
well, the big one,
selling.
the big one is Hertz Rent-A-Car. So the big one where it was like big nationwide. So it'd be like I'm watching a football game and there's like O.J. Simpson. Like, you know, it'd be like you'll see Dak Prescott do an AT&T commercial during a Cowboys game. That was some like O.J. Simpson shit. Like he opened that door up. It was like sports athletes are so popular.
And it's not just for black people, it's just for all athletes.
Just for everybody. But the fact that it's a black athlete makes it next level. That much crazier is that it's like, damn, like this dude's out here doing this. And it wasn't like, you know, a lot of games back in the day, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was doing endorsement, but that was created like a sports athlete, polarizing sports athlete who's such a household name that he can sell me. He can decide who I rent my car from when I go to the airport. And it's a commercials of him running through the airport trying to catch a flight, and everybody's leaning out, run, Juice, run. Go get him, OJ. Like, trying because
he'll get him
because he's trying to like
he'll get him.
Go get some motherfucking car, and like he opened that up. Then he became an actor. All the Naked Gun movies. O.J. Simpson was in Roots. People forget O.J. Simpson was in Roots.
And real quick, just the fact that you were saying like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar might be the exception, is it proves your point, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the most unique athlete we've ever had. Like he's like writes op-eds for the newspaper, like for the New York Times, the Washington Post. He was studied martial arts with Bruce Lee and was in Enter the Dragon. He was doing like yoga before anybody knew what the fuck it was. So he's such like a unique person that him being the only person you could compare like what OJ was doing to it proves the point that OJ was like kind of the first.
Like, as OJ did that before. Like, before
Right.
there was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, OJ was being like, they're like, damn, OJ, how'd you get into acting? Well, Kareem, what I did, like that, because I'm in, like, you know, the Naked Gun movies.
No,
And
are we sure what came out first, Enter the Dragon or Naked Gun? I'm
what
gonna
came
say
out?
Enter
Well, I mean, like I'm saying, OJ was in fucking Roots. So there's a
I know, but Roots
historic.
is not that long ago.
Roots
Like
was
90s.
Roots was a while. No, Roots was way before the '90s, man.
Mm, I know OJ's old, but so is Kareem.
1977.
Oh.
Yeah, Roots was.
Maybe there was like a airing of it like in the 90s that I just remembered.
Yeah, like he plays Cotty.
Okay, no,
like
look up Enter the Dragon.
He was born in '47. Enter the Dragon.
I think that's the Bruce Lee film that Kareem's in.
He was born in '47 too. Damn.
They're the same fucking age, bruh.
But he also retired at the age of 42.
I know. Well, Kareem, yeah, he has the most points ever
and
in
then
the NBA.
going NFL player going to the booth and being a polarizing character where people love him. Like, he was in movies, he was acting, he was on sideline reporting, he was a commercial personality, TV personality. Like, OJ was universally.
You forgot Uncle Tom.
Well, okay, careful. But like he was universally known as a household name, not just as an athlete, but as so many other things. And as a black man to do that in the time period he was doing it. Like, you'd be like, do you like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? And somebody like, fuck no, blah, 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 blah. You'd find some country dudes, he'd be like, man, I love OJ, man. Like, he was like, that's what I'm saying. He was like the fucking Herman Cain.
Yeah, like Ben Simmons, like, legitimately hated Kareem Abdul-Jabbar his entire life until he became, a sensible adult.
And OJ was a terrible person, did awful things, abused girlfriends previously. There was a tragedy this ties into the story.
I mean, he was beating Nicole Brown multiple times. Like, cops had to go to their house multiple times.
There was I'll talk about that too. But there was, he did lose a child with his first wife that drowned, I believe, in a pool at their house. It was like total accident, super crazy. Apparently it really messed him up when it came to like his kids and like what he'd be willing to do for them. And he like really was supposedly protective of his family. Now, Nicole Brown Simpson, I mean, there's a whole theory of him being one of the Kardashians' parents, and that he
Chloe's.
Yeah, well, he was, and like, what, Kim Carter, Chloe's dad. Chris was like,
Chloe's dad was his lawyer,
yeah,
Robert Kardashian.
and Chris was like fucking Marcus Allen and fucking OJ. There was all sorts of wild shit. She was in
That's so weird though, because like Kardashians usually don't fuck black guys. Oh wait, they exclusively do, except for the Lord Disick.
But he did lose a child, and then yes. Now, if you watch this documentary, there's lots of phone calls from her. There's audio recordings of dispatch calls where he's like freaking out in the background. There was one time, and they talk about it, where he would like go to her house and look in her windows and caught her like banging some dude on their couch, and he like went crazy. They called the cops on him multiple times for like being a piece of shit. Now, there is a theory that his oldest son is the one that murdered his mom, and not his mom, but it's his oldest. So, and this is where it comes from. So his oldest son was a chef.
Is this Nicole Brown's son?
No, it's not Nicole's Brown's son. It's OJ's son from his first marriage, because he had 2 kids with his first wife. One of them died. It was a daughter, and then he had a son. So so he was like older. He was like done out of the house. He was in the Navy. He was in the Army. He was trained in hand-to-hand knife combat. Like, he was like kind of a badass, and then got kicked out of the military or left. I think he was discharged for assault. Then he also was on probation when this happened for assault with a deadly weapon with a knife on a previous employer. He got arrested, charged, and was put on probation for assault with a deadly weapon, which happened to be a knife. And then the way they say that the injuries and wounds were, that was done with something extremely sharp, and the type of knife that was used was like a chef style knife that would potentially. There's a whole theory, and that OJ, since they couldn't prove.
Only his son has sharp knives.
Hold on. The beanie that was found at the scene of the crime, because there was like a baklava beanie thing that was found that somebody was wearing, is the same style of hat that his son has pictures of him wearing. And then after this happened, he's seen wearing the same similar style hat, but he doesn't have that color. There's pictures of him with a black one, a gray one, but he's always wearing some goofy fucking beanie thing. And then after this happens, he only is ever seen really wearing
What's
a gray
his
one.
motive?
His dad being a piece of shit and pumping him full of ideas. I think he's a hothead. I'm not sure. That's where it's like, who knows?
He's
But
gonna go kill his dad's ex-wife.
yeah, it's possible.
Because,
You're getting a divorce.
Because what?
You're getting a divorce. You're smearing my dad's name in public. You're costing me and my family millions of dollars, and you're some skeezer who's is substantially younger than him. That was like a fling that he was cheating on his wife
So
with.
I'm gonna murder you and then let my dad take the fall for it.
Well, hold on. I think that his dad chose to take the fall for it because I don't think they. Hold on. This is a theory. Let me finish. Just don't react. Just listen. That because he's lost a daughter previously, that there's this thing where he would do anything for his kids, and they knew that they couldn't prove that he did it because he's like, well, I didn't do it, but I'll let them come after me if it's gonna not have my kid, lose my kid for the rest of my life. I can't lose another kid. And so I'm going to do anything to protect my kids. And if that means ruin my public image, I still have my pensions. I still have all this money. I'm not going to have to pay. Hold on. I'm not.
But then you think for 1 second, oh, it's OJ. He wouldn't give a fuck about anybody but himself.
You would say that, but I mean, maybe that motherfucker cared about his kids, dude. That's all I'm saying. And then, since they couldn't necessarily prove that it was him, he was fine with taking the fall for it. But he did.
Could prove that it was him.
I'm just saying, this is a theory. There's like a whole set.
Okay, well, hit some allegedly's in here or something.
Well, the whole story's alleged. I'm just saying,
Okay,
there is a theory. I started it with that, so I don't have to say allegedly. Allegedly.
I know, but then you're like, but I think, and you're saying like you're giving reasons for.
Well, I think in this theory, I would think that if he lost a child before, you would care enough to sacrifice yourself and not get. Remember, he didn't go to prison until years later. People stole a bunch. This is real.
I get that, but that's because of the incompetence of the LAPD. Like it's like how Iran sent 300 missiles and drones at Israel, and people are like, well, they let us know ahead of time. It's really symbolic. It's like it was a message, but they weren't intending to like hurt anybody because we shot down 99% of them. It's like you don't send 300 projectiles into a sovereign country, like, and just hope they all miss, right? Like, you don't just like go to like say like, oh yeah, let's like I'll say I murdered her, like, because I'll get off because that always works out for black people in LA.
But also, there's a thing with the DNA testing where they can't really redo a lot of it with the DNA testing results, and a lot of them are very simplistic because this is early on DNA. So it could be something like where now they spit in a tube and they can run it through 23andMe 50 years later and be like, look, dude, it's somebody from this family tree. And that's kind of how they identified people. It wasn't like as definitive as a match as it could be. So it could have been his kid. It could have been somebody that's a direct blood descendant and it's the same like maternal parent. That's totally possible.
Nah, man, that's so fucking ridiculous.
That's the whole theory, man. But whenever he got locked up in Las Vegas, and this is kind of fucked. It was blatant revenge, but he got wind because there was people who'd stolen a lot of memorabilia from him, stuff out of storage units that went bad. Like there was this had trophies, his Heisman trophy, and they acquired them via illegal means. It came to he became aware of it through a pretty shady, seedy, like Michael Cohen style, like merchandise trader. This guy's a fucking character.
Michael Cohen's not.
Michael Cohen, whenever he was a lawyer,
He's just a fixer.
And this guy's like views himself as a fixer in the memorabilia department. So he's like, look,
Gotcha.
I got some of this shit. Come see me in Vegas. I'm gonna get it. It's illegally acquired. OJ gets a posse together. He's like, I need some dudes to go get my shit. They stole my shit. Let's go get it. A lot of these guys, he didn't know all of them. And some of these guys were friends with this associate guy. He's like, I know the guy who has it. We'll go get your shit and we'll go confront him. Some of these dudes brought guns. OJ says that he did not know they had guns. In these testimonies, these guys have said in depositions that they didn't believe OJ knew they had guns. These guys were felons with guns. They walk into this dude's room.
They fucked up.
They go into this room. They keep this guy from leaving, take their shit, walk out and leave.
Hold on, don't just gloss over that. They go in the room and they verbally say that he can't leave the room. Right there, that's kidnapping.
No, definitely, especially with their
Okay. I just want to say that
No.
right there. That's the crime, right?
Yeah, and there's an audio recording of the confrontation, and you can hear it. But in this confrontation, I guess OJ doesn't realize that these people have guns. This dude leaves. There's a gun there. Every single person involved in this took a plea deal and got basically immunity just to testify against OJ, to lock OJ up. So in their depositions, they're like, so do you think OJ knew you had a gun? They're like, no. And they'd be like, are you giving this deposition today because you were given an immunity deal from the state in return for testifying against my client? Absolutely. Like, it's
isn't everybody who takes
and it's like, so we're letting a felon with a gun who allegedly brought a gun in without everybody else knowing, shouldn't even have the gun in the first place. We're going to let that guy walk so we can lock up OJ because he wanted his Cotton Bowl trophy back. Like, that's wild. And that's where it's like, but you reap what you sow. So the system was waiting for OJ to come back through. He had no room to slip up. He did some really weird interviews afterwards. There's a cringy video of him pretending to stab some lady afterwards. It's like when she opens the door, it's so weird. I'll send it to you. And then he had
weird, though, that
prank TV show.
Well, just real quick, that happened in Nevada, but the murder was in California, and Nevada was like, California, don't worry, we got you.
No, I mean, I think that was, like, America, we got you. They're like, we got him. Like, that was, and then he got locked up, served his time, came out. He's hilarious. He was hilarious on Mason Cameron's podcast. He would be a regular guest. But, yeah, and then, OJ passed. But the reason why
think about all the young, like, 20-year-old white girls that, like, he had sex with after he got out of prison. Like, what's going on with them?
Yeah, well,
and are they still single?
There's the cultural impact across so many different spectrums that O.J. Simpson created, being a sports athlete in college and what he was able to do, what he accomplished as a professional football player and the records he set, and the standard, the 2,000 yard in a single season standard was set by this guy, to where it's like you can't gloss over that. And then the impact he had in, like, transferring from sports to being an actor to being in big movies and then being in, like, Roots in 1977. Like, that's so outside the box. Like, I'm a black athlete and I want to be in these fucking movies. That's, like, so unheard of, and now that's, like, the commonplace. You're like, oh, well, McGregor's gonna be in fucking Roadhouse. McGregor can be like, yeah, thanks, OJ, for, like, making this jump to be in a historically impactful movie like Roots. To have O.J. Simpson attached to something as emotionally deep as Roots that boomers watched in their living rooms with their parents and cried and forgot about it and voted for Trump. At one point, O.J. Simpson was a part of something that made them regret how they treated black people. That's the wildest,
the weirdest fucking black person for that guy to be the in Roots period. He should be in Uncle Tom's Cabin. That's where that motherfucker should be. But you keep on saying like we can't gloss over because there's no, it's weird. Okay, but I don't think that we should gloss over it. I think, but you keep on forgetting it's because of all those things is why the trial, the murder was such a big fucking deal.
Exactly.
It wasn't like, yeah. So like that's that should be the reason why we're putting it in context. But not hyping him up because of
I'm not
just
hyping
explaining that's why there was America was all like.
But like I'm not hyping him up. I'm just saying
he was supposed to be one of the good ones.
When you look at the things that he did and the impact that he created and the risks that he took. Not saying that he's not a piece of shit. I'm saying before he was murdering people, but he was still a shitty ass dude. He took chances and tried to market himself in a way that is the standard for sports athletes around the world now, where he is one of the pioneers of that. It's like when I talk about how the founding fathers like had slaves and shit, and some of them are they were all fucking assholes. By today's standards, they would be deemed dicks, and they'd be like pervs, and half of them would be grapers and all this shit, and they'd be doing fucked up shit to people. And you can't gloss over that when you also talk about the cultural impact our founding fathers had in creating this country we live in. You can't talk about Dak Prescott signing a $50 million deal with Nike to do a commercial and not talk about O.J. Simpson doing Hertz Rent-A-Cars or...
Okay, but the difference is that the founding fathers having slaves didn't have like any sort of correlation to the shit that they got done to create this country.
No, but it
Well,
did, though.
But okay, but what I'm saying is all the shit that OJ did, like, is the reason why all the like when he had his downfall, it was such a big deal.
No, but even in his downfall, there was cultural impact in how the media
No, I
viewed
know,
those things. And that's just another like box. So it's like, did he have an influence in media and how our media works today and how we watch court cases, us demanding to be in the courtroom?
Well, just the whole helicopter car chase that didn't exist before. So now in LA, out here, every day at 1 o'clock, just throw on the local fucking news, and somebody's like in a high speed chase with cops.
There was a high-speed chase the day after he died in LA on like the same highway that he had a chase on.
Oh,
Like,
there is all the time, but the thing is,
but it was the day
these
after.
networks didn't know that's box office, baby.
So even in his downfall, OJ was still box office, and that's what's wild. And it changed how we viewed those things. And he was a bad person, but the impact that he's had, like, you can't talk about the history of American court without talking about the OJ Simpson case. You can't talk about the greatest football players of all time who won the Heisman Trophy without seeing a fucking picture of OJ Simpson. You can't talk
Right,
about.
I mean, his trial, it separated the country into black and white. If you basically like, odds are if you were black, you wanted a not guilty verdict. But what I think is, I don't think that the majority, even close to the majority of black people, actually thought he was innocent. But what they really were rooting for is a black man to go like in front of a court of law, and win.
When like they've seen white guys win when they've done
Exactly,
fucked up shit.
over and over,
Yeah,
over and over.
100%.
White guys winning in court, and here it is, a black guy finally doing that, even though he probably murdered them.
Yeah.
It was a significant moment for the culture.
Yeah, it was
and the community.
Even in his downfall, he did the most significant thing he did black culture was in being found not guilty, because everything else he completely despised black culture. So how ironic is that? That's where it's like it's this loop.
Right, he's the whitest black guy who got off, and it's like, and they're like, oh, we can all get off. It's like, no.
But it's like it's this insanity loop is what I'm saying, where it's like you run through everything, and he set precedent, records, or the standard across the board. Even in his downfall, he reset the standard for how courts are done. They're like, oh, we need to see this. Do people want to watch the Trump trial? There's people who are demanding cameras, or the people who are stoked and watched every day of the OJ trial. There's a Netflix series about the trial that's on TV. So we're watching a movie about a TV trial on my TV. It's like fucking Inception with OJ Simpson. It's fucking like, and the awards about his... awards have been given to documentaries documenting his life and his downfall while this motherfucker's still alive, talking shit about him. That's crazy. It's such a fucking paradox, because he's a garbage person, did horrible things, and treated
the black Donald Trump, right?
And treated everybody. Yeah, but he fucking killed somebody. He got found guilty of murdering people in civil court, where he can't even get.
Trump killed Soleimani. Trump supported hella babies.
Yeah, but he had, you know, he was the president. He could do that. Man.
I know, but you're telling me that Trump wouldn't kill somebody? Like, if,
No, I mean he said he could kill somebody and shoot somebody and nobody, and he'd still win the vote, and he still won the vote.
yeah, he said he wouldn't lose the vote.
Yeah,
And he was right.
yeah, and that's a bold statement. But you know, O.J. Simpson, I'd say R.I.P. But no.
You just admitted that he did kill him.
No, I mean, it's like I said, it's more likely than not that he did.
Oh no, you said but he killed people.
Yeah, I mean,
R.I.P. Go fuck yourself.
Do I think O.J. Simpson either killed them or had something to do with them being killed? Yeah, he's not absolved of whatever took place that day, that night, whatever transpired. The record of he gets no benefit of the doubt because of all of the transgressions and the track record, the audio. I implore y'all go watch that documentary where you like listen to these tapes and you hear him in the background. Like, dude's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
And you know, and like he's being cremated, so they're not going to test his brain for CTE. Probably should.
Yeah, no shit.
But they're not going to. He's being cremated on his deathbed because he was dying over a period of time. He made every single person, kids, friends, families, anybody that visited him while he was on his deathbed, sign an NDA. Every single one of his kids who was there the whole time had to sign an NDA before he'd let them come in the room and be with them. That's either, and apparently he didn't even make a confession, but he made everybody sign an NDA.
Well, how would you know if everybody signed an NDA?
Because the family lawyer, was like, everybody signed an NDA, so there won't be any.
But he didn't make a confession.
Apparently he didn't make any confessions.
I know, but I'm saying, how do you know that part?
His legal team's like, he did not make any deathbed confessions, but everybody who spoke with him in his final days signed an NDA. It's like 30 or 40 people. Apparently everybody.
Maybe he told everybody that his son did it.
It's possible because everybody thought there might be a confession to absolve himself.
Are NDAs still valid if it's covering up a murder?
If you have like something like that, there's obviously something left in some sort of estate there's got to be some assets or something that I bet you they could make it to where like you don't get shit if you say something. Yeah, you could do that. That's like, okay, well,
shouldn't you be like legally obligated
to
break the NDA?
Like, I'm pretty sure that yeah, but I mean, like, I think when it comes to certain things like that, he could easily add something to like a family trust where it's like, look, and we added it because you've been fucking around, and if you don't finish school and you flunk out, we're cutting you out of the will. Come on, Dad.
But not a murder.
But on disclosing any things that we've discussed, a lawyer could draw that up and make that a stipulation to your access. If you don't access this till he dies, he could change that.
We don't need any fucking confessions, OJ. We know you're a piece of shit murderer. Thank you.
Either way, moving on. OJ is gone. We can't say R.I.P. It's, Henry Kissinger's dead. OJ's dead.
Yes.
I mean, we got some bad motherfuckers dropping off in 2024, so I'm cool with that. Pro-life, this one is a former Marine jailed for 9 years for bombing abortion clinic. A U.S. Marine has been jailed for 9 years for firebombing a California Planned Parenthood clinic and plotting other attacks to spark a race war. Chase Brannon, 24. That's a spooky age to be doing that too, because like if it's like you're 16 or no,
that's mass shooter age.
No, I mean that's where it's like this is like definitely a pattern than it more than it is like, oh, I'm going through a red pill phase. Firebombed a health clinic. He also plotted to go after Jewish people, LGBTQ plus. A pride event taking place at Dodger Stadium. At the time of his arrest, he was an active duty member of the U.S. Marines. Prosecutors said he was a neo-Nazi who frequently spoke of cleansing the U.S. of particular ethnic groups. I wonder who this guy's voting for or was going to vote for.
You don't get to vote.
Not anymore, but he was registered to vote. 2024. Woo! Assistant Attorney General said the attack was designed to terrorize patients seeking reproductive health care. And this is what's not like, you see these things when it comes to like libs of TikTok or these other groups that push these narratives and incite people to go do shit like that. Like the rhetoric of these groups is to go incite or start something so that we can go finish it. That's a lot. Oh, like
all the manifestos, like what was it, the Tree of God, like the Jewish temple that that, like 9 people. It was like the biggest uh, massacre of Jewish people in United States history. The guy who up in Buffalo killed all those black people, same thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
these manifestos about the Great Replacement theory that
yeah.
like Tucker Carlson pushes.
No, and they do push this stuff, and like
Jews will not replace us. That type of shit.
you can go back to when OJ was playing football. And you
Oh
could
God.
talk about like the Manson family and like their whole thing was to start a race war and helter skelter and like, oh, these black people killed Sharon Tate and them and we hate pigs and death to pigs and because they're trying to start a race war so they can take over. Like everybody's got something like
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna
that was the drugs, bro.
but the theory is the same. Let's start something so that when we start this, it will get out of control, and then we can take control in the chaos. It's the same
Right,
thing.
right, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
start something that we know we can finish. We'll do the I'm Timothy McVeigh. I hate the government. Oklahoma City bombing or the Unabomber. All of them have something where they're trying
January 6th.
they're trying to start something, spark something, a change that they want to see happen, and they think that way is through violence. And the rhetoric preaches that violence to them, so it's not a surprise.
So Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber, he saw what happened in Waco, Texas, and that's what like got him like motivated. But really, what got him motivated? He was a virgin.
He was in Waco, Texas. He was there when it was happening.
Right, and
he
that's
was
why
he was interviewed by the news, sitting on his car, being like, "Oh, I think they should leave him alone." Like that motherfucker was out there watching that shit, drove down to in support, and that's like,
the building that he bombed was a federal building that had a daycare, like an asshole. Um, but no, seriously, he was a fucking virgin, dude. Like, it's all these fucking incels, dude.
yeah. I mean, and then they get angry and they feel like they need to express themselves through violence.
Exactly. They hate the world. But if they had a girlfriend, dude, like, they'd be like, I don't want to go bomb a building.
And they had 2 co-conspirators as well that also will be sentenced later.
Who was working with this fucking
Who
guy?
was working with him? Yep, there was more than one. Tibet Eagle and Xavier Batten have pled guilty to similar charges and will be sentenced next month. I mean, this is just like people.
And
think,
also, hold on, we missed this part where he said that he placed calls to both China and Russia, hoping to offer himself as a mole, providing U.S. intelligence. Dude, fuck this. This dude is a patriot. Get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, and that's where because it's and like these are the things that like there's extremes on both sides, and this like the extreme on this side is like it's like really violent, man. It's super great, and he's not alone in those thoughts. He had 3 people with him, and he probably knew 10 people that were like, "Fuck yeah," and they all hung out, and they would go try to find more like-minded people. Like, the internet is very powerful and useful, but it also allows like idiots to cluster and discuss shit.
Right. Like it used to be like this guy would be having these thoughts, like in his room by himself. He gets on the internet and now he finds people who have, think exactly like him, and then they have a community, and then they like kind of hype each other up.
Next article from the BBC. This one cracked me up. Psychic
You should say the author of the article. I've been meaning to like bring that up because we always like give the company but it's
okay.
like whoever wrote it, we should probably shout out too.
My bad. Where is it? This is by Mac Matza, the Marine one on BBC News. It was posted 15 hours ago. I'm always trying to find like freshies.
Yeah, and all the links are in the show notes, in the description wherever you get your podcast. So if you want to
check
pull up
them
the
out.
links that we're talking about.
Yeah. And this one is from BBC. Came out about 10 hours ago. Psychic con man jailed for swindling 1.3 million Americans.
Who's the author?
I think is at the bottom. Where is it? It doesn't show it. Mario. The picture is by Mario Tama. But I don't see. It doesn't show where it's written.
Yeah, you're right.
Weird. Yeah, a Canadian conman has been jailed for 10 years for swindling tens of millions of dollars from more than 1 million Americans by claiming to be a psychic. Fucking awesome. That's why I call this like Mr. Cleo. That's wild. And
Isn't that every psychic?
Yeah, but to do that much and just to be claiming you
Oh,
are.
he was just the most prolific.
Yeah, I mean, this dude was killing for over 2 decades. This dude, Patrice Runner, no pun intended, 57. So he's 57. So since he was like 35, 36, this motherfucker's been racking in tens of millions. He's lived his best.
So,
9 years.
So we could get in the game right now.
9 years. He's got stuff that you can't take from him that exists, that's put away. In that 9 years, he's not, what, you just stole money. He's going to get out in like
Plus, he's
5.
a psychic. Like he's gonna be one step ahead of you. You try to take his money, anyways.
Yeah, and listen to how stupid this is. Over 2 decades, Patrice Runner, 57, amassed a fortune by promising wealth and happiness to his targets if they sent him money through the mail. The scheme pulled in more than $175 million from 1.3 million American victims. A jury found Runner guilty in June on several charges related to the scheme. Patrice Runner's extravagant lifestyle, born on the backs of millions of older and vulnerable Americans, has come to an end. Like, way too late, bro. The U.S. 20.
I'm almost here for this. How is this illegal?
I mean, I guess he's just like, yeah, give me some money and I'll make you rich. And they're like, okay. But a U.S. Postal, it's come to an end, said Chris Nielsen, a U.S. Postal inspector in Philadelphia. He called the 10-year term an appropriate punishment. According to authorities, the Canadian and French dual citizen directed the scam for the entirety of its 20-year operation, directed co-conspirators who ran the daily operations. Under his scheme, millions received letters from Runner and his associates falsely claiming to be in personal correspondence sent by well-known so-called psychics, Maria Duval and Patrick Gerin. The letters, prosecutors say, promised the recipient would achieve a life of great prosperity with their help. What? The recipients, who were mostly elder or vulnerable, were instructed to send money in exchange for astral clairvoyant forecasts. This is like wild that this dude got away with this for 20 fucking years.
Again, I still don't know how it's illegal. Wait, so real quick, is he ripping off Canadians or Americans?
Americans.
But he's Canadian? He's a French Canadian?
French Canadian dual citizen.
He's oui, he's over here eating poutine.
Yeah, that's epic.
I'd be okay if this was American made crime.
The U.S. Department of Justice said Runner used a number of shell companies registered in Canada and Hong Kong to hide his involvement while living abroad in a variety of countries, including France, Costa Rica, Spain, and the Netherlands. He's denied breaking the law, saying in a 2023 interview with Walrus magazine that maybe it's not moral, maybe it's bullshit, but it doesn't mean it's fraud. Speaking to Walrus from a New York detention center, Runner bragged of his writing abilities, saying he could get the attention of someone, and at the end, after a few minutes, the person would send a check to get a product to an address or a company they've never heard of. This dude's like kind of a badass.
He's a salesman, man.
Runner was
coffees for closers, homie.
Runner was convicted of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and wire fraud, 8 counts of mail fraud, 4 counts of wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. He was found not guilty on 4 counts of mail fraud. He might get this shit appealed, dude.
Well, yeah, all the laundering of the money that he probably had to do. Like, if he's got like shell accounts and all that, so that's probably where they can get him. You know, it's like they didn't get Al Capone for murder; they got him for like tax evasion. So it's like maybe him ripping off these old people wasn't. You know, it's like OJ. It's like they put him in jail for 10 years because he murdered somebody, not because he like walked up in a hotel room.
True.
This guy's ripping, yeah. Real quick though, do you think we can get the customer list from him of all those people and then start pitching him Christ coin? Because I feel like our customer base overlaps a lot there. The Venn diagram is
I mean, it's possible.
large.
It's possible. And then I just wanted to be
Christ coin will actually give them abundance and financial security. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I know, and I just put like crazy shit going on. There's just a lot of action going on in the world. Is there anything you want to chat with real quick before we wrap it up? I wanted to keep it kind of light, kind of not too heavy on the topics coming back. Like, I wanted it to be more just like banter than it being like, all right, so everybody's trying to blow each other up.
Yeah, well, we don't need like Trump like just like hovering over this podcast at all times. But I feel like that if we could just do like quick bullet points on him, like every because there's just so much shit going on.
Yeah.
Like then that way we don't talk to him about him too much, but we're also not like avoiding it.
Yeah.
His trial, his criminal trial for paying hush money with election funds and covering it up to Stormy Daniels started on Monday. They have 12 main jurors and they're gonna have 6 reserves, so 18 total. They need to get seated. So that's the first thing is to jury selection. They already seated 6 jurors today. So this shit, if they do 6 again tomorrow, this shit could be wrapped up in a week. People are like, "Oh, it could take months." It's like no, like, and this judge is so pissed at Trump. Trump fell asleep today in court. Or no, yesterday he fell asleep multiple times, like nodding off, and then today he was like mumbling shit, like to his lawyer, like about a prospective juror, and the judge like lost it. He's like, "Dude, I'm not gonna have any of my witnesses intimidated in my fucking courtroom." And like Trump asked if he could have he day off so he could go to Barron's high school graduation.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and Trump and his lawyer goes, I mean, we don't even feel like we need to be here. And the judge just is like, what the fuck? He's like, first of all, you guys already made motions to dismiss the case. We went over that. You are mandated to be here. Like, don't. And then like, I'm gonna let you take a day off. And like, the judge typically takes Wednesdays off because that way he can like keep his other cases on track and shit. But he goes, but I'm not like, because they were trying to say like, well, we get Wednesdays off, so could we blah blah blah? And he's like, I'm gonna try to take Wednesdays off, but if this, if our case is going and we need to like come in on a Wednesday, we're gonna fucking come on a Wednesday. I'm not gonna like just like be like, oh, you're like out on the campaign trail, like he's like, nah, like stop. But this trial should be over in like 6 weeks, and everybody like that doesn't know anything, which I guess like most of us don't know what's gonna happen because it's a former president, whatever. First time it's ever happened, but are like, he's not gonna get any jail time. It's like, what are you talking about? Michael Cohen went to jail for the same crime, and and he was just like the person doing it for Trump. So I don't see why he wouldn't go to jail. I really like the prosecution's asking to hold Trump into contempt of court because they had to put like a gag order on him and he was talking shit about the judge's daughter and shit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so they're like, hold him in contempt, and the judge is like weighing that. But I wanted like that judge to just be like, this guy's not the president, right? Like, if he's in contempt of court, have the bailiff put the handcuffs on him, put his ass in like fucking jail for the night, like that will like end the bullshit real quick. It will show that he's not untouchable, and and then like other people, other prosecutors can start behaving differently and treat him like a normal criminal. So that his stock down every fucking day. My sports book, I found out, will let me bet on what the share price of his stock will be at the end of the day instead of over under, and they just pick it. And I wanted to do it, but and just pick the under because fuck Trump, and it's been the under every time. It opened at $70 a share, and it's down to $22 a share today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a company that makes no revenue and lost like $44 million and made four.
No. It made $4 million in just revenue, not profit, and lost $150 million at the same time.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, but somehow it's worth billions of dollars. No, but what actually happened was yesterday it started to tank, and it tanked again today. Was that they announced that they're going to issue more and more shares. So they're going to just dilute the fuck out of all the shares because you issue more, like the ones that other people have are worth less now.
Yeah.
So instead of Trump like being able to, because he can't sell his shares for 6 months, and that would tank the fucking stock to zero anyways as soon as he does that. Instead, he sells more shares, and then they take the money from they get from selling those shares, and that's a way that he can turn it into cash, get liquid.
Yeah.
But then it just turns the fucking stock into like garbage, dude. Like it's going to fucking zero. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like he's not even gonna have an opportunity for like the Saudis to like pump money in there, like on like without it causing a stir, because like the shit's gonna be under before he gets to that point.
Yeah, he's a shit show, man.
Yeah.
But-
So I just wanted to note those things, and then what's going on in like Israel with Iran. Israel about a week and a half ago hit a diplomatic compound. They say it's the embassy in Syria for Iran's embassy in Syria, but it was not registered as an embassy. Whatever. Israel had intelligence that the top general of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, or the IRGC, the guy who like was like planning October 7th and shit. Or not, no, he wasn't planning it, but he was like helping Hezbollah and the Houthis like hit Israel, um, and Hamas. They killed him and like a couple other top guys in that embassy, or quote embassy in Syria. So they blew them up. So Iran said they were going to retaliate, and they did on Saturday. They sent a bunch of drones, missiles, 300 in total, in from Iran proper. They didn't use one of their proxies into Israel, this is the first time this has ever happened, and these guys have been like in a proxy war, since 1946 when Israel was created.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's a huge deal. And but like the thing is, it takes hours for those drones and missiles to get to Israel. Plus, the Iranians got on the phone, told the Saudis, the Emiratis, the Qataris that they did that, and there's reports that they even told the United States that they did it. And so, the United States, Britain, the Israeli Iron Dome, and their Arrow Sling technology that we gave them, which is like their air defense systems, all that combined, and then Saudi Arabia and Jordan allowed us to get in their airspace. So we had like American jets shooting these drones out of the sky, like and British jets shooting them out of the sky, Israeli defense things. So they shot down 99% of them. Like one got through. The only thing that happened was a 7-year-old girl got injured, but she's gonna be fine. And so people are saying like Iran purposefully told them because like they just wanted to show that their capabilities, but didn't actually want to like escalate things, which sounds like kind of plausible when you think about that they let the United States know it took them a couple hours to get there. But then when you think about it, it's like, wait a second. So Iran, your strategy after your top guy gets killed is to shoot 300 fucking missiles and drones at Israel, hoping all of them would get down or get knocked down, and emasculate your fucking like military capabilities in front of the entire world. It's like, and then they're celebrating it in Iran. It's like, bro, you like what is that? It's like you can't, like, you just proved that you can't even attack Israel. So
Yeah.
I think Iran really did try to like cause mass casualties and just failed. So that happened, and Speaker Mike Johnson has other than Marjorie Taylor Greene, has a second person asking for him to resign, and today said he's not going to resign. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to bring Ukraine funding on the floor. Then the Republicans will vote to remove him, and the Democrats will vote to keep him. That's right. Democrats will be voting for MAGA Mike Johnson comes to stay speaker.
It's possible.
That's just a little breakdown of the politics and international news.
It's so crazy, man. It's such a wild time to be alive.
Yeah.
But you got any deep inspirational words? 133 is done, fresh out of juice.
Fresh out of juice. I'm loose. Looser than a piece of low-hanging fruit. Meditate, bitches.
Y'all like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment. Like you said, the links are there. Check them out in the show notes and description. I'll get better about putting those in the notes on the episodes, but I bring them up, so it's like we have them. But yeah, we appreciate you swinging by. What's up? You were leaning like you're gonna say something. You get a lean.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Oh, y'all, there's like Q&A, and like where you can leave like comments and like ask questions and shit on Spotify and Apple and wherever you stream your audio. So, and then obviously comments on the YouTube. So feel free if you want us to answer any questions on the air.
Yeah, please. But like I said, we always appreciate y'all swinging by. Y'all be good, be safe, stay out of trouble, and as always, go fuck yourselves.
Recording stopped.
Last second sneeze.